Okay, so we have been given chapter number 2 to study. Okay, so we'll go through first the organization of the chapter, and then we'll try to hear. We'll hear His Grace Leela Purushottam Prabhu's first lecture, and tomorrow we'll see the second lecture. And so there will be basically these two lectures and the summary of chapter 2, which will be asked in your global quiz competition. So, organization of the second chapter. Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, verses 1 to 9. So, in verses 1 to 9, in the first chapter, we saw that Arjuna was feeling quite he had very intimidating experience. Like he was, because he was a devotee, and when he saw his brothers and fathers and uncles and teachers in front of him, he became quite emotional, and he was broken, like he was emotionally broken. And then he also he argued with Krishna about for several reasons that I don't want to fight. He said that I will incur it will incur me sinful reactions, and although somebody can give me the kingdom of the heaven, or if I get a nice kingdom on the earthly planet, but what is the use if my relatives, my friends are not there to see my opulence? So, and also he said that all the elderly people will be leaving this earth, and so then who will be there to guide the younger generation? Also about the traditions, like how this the ancient traditions will keep on going without the elders, and the women, they will become widows, and then there might be some illicit relations, and unwanted children will appear, and there will be all menace around the world, and people might not follow religion, proper religion, become irreligious. So what we are seeing in the Kali Yuga, that was what Arjuna predicted that time if the war takes place. So he basically didn't want to do any fight. So then he, at the end of the chapter 1, in the last verse, it is said that Arjuna, Sanjay says that, so the Sanjay, we know Sanjay is the narrator of whole Bhagavad Gita. So Sanjaya says in the end of the 46th or 47th verse of chapter 1 that Arjuna gets so much depressed that he quits his sarang, which is like his bow. I think saranga or another thing is there. Yeah, bow, Gandiva. Yeah. So that bow, he just drops the bows and arrows, and he sits on the chariot hopelessly. So up to that we saw, and in the chapter 2, um, from the first verse to ninth verse, again Arjuna is arguing. He keeps on arguing up to 2.7, and in 2.7 Arjuna tries to surrender to Krishna, and then again he says some arguments. Means slowly he's trying to surrender with arguments. And then so up to ninth verse, then 10 to 30th, when Arjuna just gives up. Then from 10th verse onwards, Krishna starts speaking the Sankhya Yoga, which is the analysis of the body and the soul, especially understanding of the soul, how it is different from the material body, how it is spiritual, and what are the qualities of the soul and everything. So 10 to 30th number is description of soul basically. And then understanding one's duty through Sankhya verses. So this is once material duty. So how you should perform your material duty and everything. So that is what is explained in 30 verse to 38. Then Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness verses. And this is the spiritual duties, your spiritual duty, how you should perform your spiritual duty. That is described in Buddhi Yoga. So how you should be focused on Krishna as and along with that you should perform your material duties. So that is the thing. And so anyhow, or like if you want to or if you don't want to, surrender to Krishna, but you have to perform your duties. So as per Krishna's will. Okay, so this is the sum and substance of 39 to 53. So a person somehow or other, he has to surrender sometime to Krishna and he has to work as per Krishna's orders. Then characteristics
Mama,
of saintly person.
Maharaj, is Buddhi Yoga like a different system of
I cannot
yoga?
hear you. Wait a minute. Just a moment. Yes, now you tell me.
Is Buddhi Yoga a different system of yoga, or is it like?
It's similar to Bhakti Yoga. That's what Prabhu will say. Lila Pusham Prabhu, when we hear the recording, he says Buddhi Yoga is Bhakti Yoga only. But how to invest your intelligence into Krishna consciousness and work as per Krishna's orders. That is called Buddhi Yoga. Basically, Bhakti Yoga only.
Okay.
So tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. So chapter number 10, verse number 10. There Krishna says about buddhi yoga. Okay, so when you are satata yuktanam, when you are continuously involved in Krishna conscious activities, that time Krishna gives you intelligence by which you can progress in your spiritual journey towards Krishna. He doesn't give you material intelligence. He does automatically. The material things come from spirituality. Okay, people think differently. That's first we do material thing, then spirituality comes. No, it is on a completely different platform. Okay, so it's completely opposite actually. First we become spiritual, then we can do our material things also nicely. So Krishna doesn't give us material intelligence much, but he always gives us spiritual intelligence. So by yena mam upayan, by which we can come to Krishna. So that is what he says in 10.10. Characteristics of saintly person. Once you are Krishna conscious, then what should be your qualities? This is very important. Sthita pragna, who is stable in bhakti yoga, who has steady intelligence in devotion to Krishna. Then spiritual experience is the key. So this is the if someone asks you what is the key verse of chapter number 2, so this is the key verse of chapter number 2. Like in chapter number 1, key verse is 1.27, where Arjuna is just depressed and he gives up everything, and then Krishna starts speaking. So that's the turning point of chapter 1. And this is the no, not Krishna doesn't start speaking, but there Arjuna is trying to starts arguments in chapter 1. So in chapter 2, this is the key verse, okay? So where Krishna says, Vishayavini vartante niraharasya dehina raso varjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste of sense objects remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So materially, just now, as we discussed, that Krishna doesn't give you material intelligence, he gives you spiritual intelligence. So when you invest your senses in spiritual intelligence, higher taste, when automatically your material taste goes down. So, but people, what do people do? Most of people, they try to restrict their senses. They try to materially restrict their senses. That okay, like Chaturmasya, right? Where 1 month you are leaving each and every ingredient. But in Krishna consciousness, we follow only Ekadashis, Janmashtami, on such days we fast. We completely fast, refraining from grains, sustaining on fruits and milk or nothing, or only water. So that is how we should invest our all the senses in Krishna consciousness, and then we can like I think in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it says that अत कृष्ण श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेत ग्राह्यम इंद्रिये सेवन मुखेधि जीवादो स्वयं एव हि स्फुरति इत्यदा. So that means that as such we can't understand Krishna by our pale material senses, but when we try to serve Krishna by our tongue, or utilizing our mouth or taste buds in Krishna. Tongue has two functions, right? One is speaking about Krishna, chanting Krishna, and second is eating Krishna prasadam. So by these two things, basically, when we try to understand Krishna, second, and one is mouth, hearing, tongue, and next is ears. These two are very powerful senses. Okay, so by hearing also Krishna Katha, by these two means we can understand Krishna very good, very nicely. So, and what other people do? Some people are Mauni Babas, okay? So they just don't, they keep mom. They don't speak at all. So they try to restrict their speaking. And some people are refraining from the food. Okay, so the speech and food, both of the things materially they try to restrict. But then what happens, as soon as they start speaking, they blaspheme about the devotees and all these things. Or when they start eating, they might eat something very spicy, very pungent, egg, fish. So what is the use of such fasting, right? So basically in chapter 2, Krishna says that Arjuna, dear Arjuna, you are on a lower mode. Okay, you are on the lower mode. You are just trying to understand by your senses, Krishna by your senses, yourself by your senses. Who am I? What is my relation with my friends, my relatives, my forefathers? By material senses, you are trying to understand. But if you try to invest these senses into Krishna Katha and taking Krishna Prasadam, understanding Krishna's instructions, then you'll go to a higher platform, and that's how you can have a lesser detachment. You can have a detachment, easier detachment from your relatives, and then you can fight more, better way. Okay, so that is a key verse 2.59. Okay, 2.59 Vishavini Vartante. That is the key verse of chapter 2. Section 1, Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, verses 1 to 9. So this I will just quickly read it. 1 to 3, Lord Krishna disapproves Arjuna's arguments. Then more arguments by Arjuna and more confusion. Then 7 to 8, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Okay, Karpanya dosho pahata soha apahata soha. So then slowly he starts surrendering. And when a pure devotee enters into difficulty, he surrenders to Krishna. This is the sum and substance of up to verse number 7 and 8. So for that, if you haven't read chapter 2 still, you can please, I would recommend you can read just once, go through chapter 2. There are, I think, 70 to 74 verses in chapter 2, but just read it with purport. Okay, that will be very much helpful. So Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. So whenever we are confused, a pure devotee will do what? Will go to Krishna or Krishna's representative, Guru. Okay. So whenever we are broken, we are not well, we should go to Guru. And then whatever he says, you have to do. Guru Mukha Padma Vaktya Chittede Kuriya. Okay. So that is the process. So Arjuna first went to Krishna. Krishna said to him whole Bhagavad Gita. And then at the end of the 18th chapter, Arjuna says that Karishya Vachanam Tava. Now, whatever you say, I will do. Okay. Before that, Krishna says to Arjuna that now I have said whole Bhagavad Gita to you. Now you do whatever you like. So that is Paramatma. Okay. Sometimes we don't want to do something. Whenever Paramatma says us something, we don't want to do something. But if we really hear and if we really try to follow, we can come out the mode of lower modes. We can come out of those lower modes and we can go to a better destination. We can become more spiritual. Arjuna was in depression but surrendered to Krishna. Arjuna is pure devotee. Generally, in depression, one in material consciousness degrades further. Okay, whenever we are ill, we might degrade further. But when we are ill, if we chant more Krishna's name, then it is observed that we can come out that illness very quickly. As we don't fall sick at all. Okay, so our gurus and they say that wake up early in the morning, chant your rounds, and do your regulate your daily activities. Then we never get sick. So that's why we have seen in Vrindavan some people live for 200 years, 400 years. So because they are very pure, very clean in mind, in heart. As we surrender to Krishna, divine knowledge manifests. Section 2, understanding soul through Sankhya, verses 10 to 30, 2.10 to 2.30. That is knowledge about soul, description of soul. So Sankhya Yoga, that is Sankhya Yoga, analysis of soul. That is Sankhya Yoga. Okay, you might be asked what is Sankhya. Sankhya is analytical study of soul. So by Kapila Muni, who is the son of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Okay, that will not be asked. It is just to let you know. So there is one more atheistic Kapila Muni also. He has also ordained a Sankhya philosophy, but that is on bodily ground. This is completely this analysis of the soul. So that is given by Kapila Muni, who was the incarnation of Krishna himself. So from verses 12 to 13, soul is eternal and transmigration of soul. Okay, so from verse number 10 itself, it starts where Krishna is saying that Natvevaham jatu nasham natvam neme janadeva na chaivana bhavishyama sarvevayam. And before that, Krishna says, you are thinking something else. Ashochanan mashochastam pragnavadam subhasas. That one is verse number 2.10. So from that 2.10, Krishna starts his philosophy of the soul. The soul is eternal and transmigration of the soul. So 12 and 13, Krishna says how the soul is eternal. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. That we saw in our past sessions in the last year, right? That as the embodied soul passes continuously from one body to another, the similar way he passes into another body at the death, and the sober person is not bewildered by such a change. And also there might be some like sense control is a basis to understand the soul. So matra sparshas to Kaunteya, that is 13th. So then slowly Krishna moves towards, if you become on the soul platform, then you will not realize what is hot, what is cold, like everything is equal to you. You will become very equipoised. So then you will have sense control also. Then the qualities of the soul. Okay, that soul is anti-material. So in material world, everything is tend to diminish, annihilate, or denature, right? But soul never perishes. Okay, it is eternal. It has no end, no beginning. The divine, it is divine. Learn, and 2.16, learn the science of soul from the seers. So how to learn the science from the seers of the truth. 2.17, spiritual consciousness is imperishable. Living symptoms, bodily consciousness is temporary. So whatever now I am feeling, my experience is that might be temporary, right? Suddenly I'll feel something else, but my spiritual consciousness remains imperishable. We experience both spiritual and material consciousness. We should not be swayed by bodily consciousness. 19 to 24 properties of the soul, the divine part and parcel of Krishna. So we are all part and parcels of Krishna, and also the properties of Krishna, like Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janmamritasya cha tasmad aparihariya now tam sochitu arhasi. So although we are, as we are born, we are tend to get like annihilated, like we die. But because we are souls, so Krishna says that we should not lament. So these are, you don't have to remember these verses and where it says what, but you have to just understand the, it will be described more in the coming verses, and we'll try to understand. And for that also you have to read Bhagavad Gita practically. 31,
So,
32.
so bodily consciousness and material consciousness are the same, right?
Yes.
It says in 2.17.
Yes. So act as per your nature, 31 and 32. So as per your nature, okay. So as per your nature means everyone has been given different skills, right? This is about material dharma. So consequence of not performing one's duty. So if we artificially renounce that I'll not do any duty, so then also it's not good. Like just like Arjuna said, that because I'm trying to fight against my well wishers, my right. So then why should I fight? I should give up. I'm not supposed to. So many people do like this. Like because I am now on spiritual platform, I should leave my material duties. Right? But then Krishna says in third chapter also Krishna says that one should perform his duty as per his nature. Okay. If you have nature of a Kshatriya, you should fight. If you have nature of a Brahmana, your intelligence, you should try to preach Bhagavad Gita or understand Bhagavad Gita. And if you have nature of business minded, if you are business minded, and then you should perform your duty as a Vaishya. You should do Krishi Raksha Vaణिज्य, means business and cow protection, and also some agriculture. Okay, so and then if you have the serving mentality, if you want to always serve someone, then you should become a doctor, engineer. So these are all professions in which you are serving someone. So that is a Shudra mentality. So most of us has this mentality. So we should basically do this serving jobs, and we should earn money for our family. We should live a peaceful life. So that is what Krishna is saying: overcoming sin by being situated in one's dharma. So one's bodily dharma, or one's then the next part will be one's um, spiritual dharma, right? One's duty to Krishna. That is our eternal dharma. So 39 to 41, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudhrada Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. So now again Krishna says that once you do Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, then you are the best person. You don't need to do anything. But then on what level you should be? That is another question, right? So all are not on that platform. That's why Krishna says everywhere that even Krishna, when he was in his material body, like he was in Vrindavan and he took material incarnation on this earthly planet. That time also he never missed doing his any material duty. So he did everything for our sake, to show us how to work materially. Materialistic pursuits cannot extract juice from Vedic literatures. So then there is some karma kand philosophy. The people who are very much Veda based, who are always reading Vedas and trying to understand and speculate the things. They cannot understand um, Krishna conscious literatures, so Vedic literature basically. So Vedas are also coming from Krishna only, but there are two, three parts in Veda. So most of the people, they don't go in the Adhyatmic part. They only go into this Gnana Kanda and Karma Kanda philosophy. So there is Upasana Kanda also in the Vedic literature, but they don't go into Vedic those Upasana Kanda. They just go to Karma Kanda philosophy. So 46 in 2.46, Krishna consciousness is a big reservoir. Then Krishna says that you should come out of all these normal things, Karma Kanda, Gnana Kanda, but you should come to Upasana Kanda because Bhagavad Gita is also in Gita Mahatmya. Also, we say that the biggest all the Vedic literature's extract is in Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has extracted all the Vedic sum and substance and put in 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. So just 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic literatures. And 47 to 53, action in Krishna consciousness results in real samadhi. So then he says 47 to 53 is action in Krishna consciousness, means Buddhi Yoga, actual Buddhi Yoga, not on the material. Your soul's actual, as per your soul's actual quality. Gopi Bharta Pada Kamalam Dasa Dasanudas. That is our soul's quality. We are always servant of the servant of the servant as per the soul's quality. So we should act as per soul's quality. Action in Krishna conscious results in real samadhi. So when we act on the soul platform, then that is a real samadhi. Samadhi means always remembering Krishna, nothing more. Nothing else is the meaning of samadhi. Samadhi means this. If you remain always in Krishna consciousness, then you are in samadhi. 2.40, spiritual Krishna conscious endeavor is eternal bank balance. Krishna conscious endeavor is eternal bank balance. Okay, now if we lose our life, then also if we have earned some Krishna consciousness piety, then our next birth, as Krishna says in the 6th chapter, that you will get Suchinam Shrimatangehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. If we are fallen from our position of Krishna consciousness, then also no worries, we are getting another birth. There we are getting Suchinam Srimatam, very learned and very aristocratic family, Srimatam. There we are getting our birth. Okay, so one should not. That is why Krishna consciousness should be followed just right from the childhood. We should not wait up to old age. So because death can come at any time. So this consciousness remains eternal. This is an eternal bank. When it's our house, everything will go away. But this is related to a soul and super soul. So Krishna Paramatma, he reminds us in our next life also, and we start doing bhakti. So 46 tells why Bhagavad Gita is essence of all Vedic literature. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and why? That is 46, 47. Everyone of us must act according to the nature we acquired. By engaging in Krishna consciousness, the whole material world becomes like Vatsa Padam, to cross over. Samasritaye Padam Padapallava Plavam. So there is a shloka, very beautiful shloka, I am forgetting. So if one is situated in Krishna consciousness, then to cross over this material world is just like the crossing the water which can be contained in cow's hoof print. Calves. Okay, calf is a very like a child of the cow, right? So calf's hoof print. So what, how much of water can be there in the calf's hoof print? Very less, right? So and to cross that is like a child's play, very easy. So if we always engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness, then um, to cross over the material ocean, material world is called ocean, very very big ocean. So that ocean becomes just like a little um, puddle, right? Very 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 little puddle of over this size. This size puddle we have to cross if we remain in Krishna consciousness. Section 5, characteristic of a saintly person. Okay, then verses 55 to 72 is characteristic of a saintly person. Krishna conscious person is self-situated, aloof from the sensory perception. So they are not on the senses platform. They come to the, they are always remain contained, equipoised. And Krishna conscious experience is required to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. So you have to take devotee association, you have to visit temple, you have to perform some services at temple or as per your guru's instructions. So you have to chant your rounds very attentively. So these are some of the keys by which we can have Krishna conscious experience, by which we can become Krishna conscious person. And Vaishnava, real Vaishnava. Okay, so real Vaishnava is very self-controlled, very his sensory perception. He doesn't remain on the sensory perception, just like this tortoise. The purpose of the process of self-control, it is taught in 60 to 68. Seekers of sense and sense gratifiers are poles apart. One who rejects bodily perceptions in favor of spiritual experience can attain the highest goal. So after seeing these qualities of devotee, like Arjuna asks Krishna that how does a devotee walk, how does he sit, how does he speak, how does he responds. So then Krishna answers through these verses that how is a actually elevated Krishna conscious person. Okay, so in that Krishna says in one of the verses that as just as a kurma, this is a in Sanskrit is called kurma, his tortoise. Whenever he sees a danger, he withdraws his limbs inside the shell. So in the same way, when a devotee who is self-control, self-situated, is very Krishna conscious. Whenever he sees some sense objects, right, to enjoy, right, so that time he just withdraws. He can withdraw his senses at any time, and that is a perfectly situated Krishna conscious person. So that is our highest goal to attain, and that can be achieved by completely remaining always in Krishna consciousness. Section 5, characteristic of saintly person. So here some of the description is given. I will just quickly read. Symptoms of Sthita Prajna, man of fixed intelligence. Through spiritual intelligence, you guide your mind. He is good observer of body, how three modes are acting and not disturbed. In no situation he loses track of his self-identity and instrument of Krishna. Okay, he never gets pride, or he never gets very low feeling in which he thinks that he is nothing. Like this feeling of nothingness is always there in Krishna conscious person. But at the same time, Lila Purusham Prabhu says that when you feel that you are complete, okay, because Krishna is complete, he has made you complete, then although when it usually happens that when we become Krishna conscious, we become so humbled that if somebody just disrespects us, we tolerate, right? And we become too much humble, and And so there are some stories also there where it is said that uh, uh, there was a snake, and then he became Krishna conscious, and then another snake came to hit him. So that time the snake said to the I think Narad Muni or somebody is there. So he said to Narad Muni that that snake, he came to me and he just hit me. Then Narad Muni said, I didn't ask you to not hiss. Okay, you have to hiss so that you can shoo away the other any animals from you. So so to remain in goodness is a good thing. Krishna conscious person is always remains in pure goodness, pure mode of goodness. But to protect ourselves from our predicted enemies or something, so we have to sometimes pick up the weapons also. Okay, so this is that is the quality of a sthita pragna or a saintly person, devotee. Uh, just like Krishna says to Arjuna also that tolerating always and being a devotee is not a good thing, right? Mm, but a devotee is the person who analyzes the situation and acts accordingly. Okay, so wherever we are asked to fight, we should fight. Okay, so that's what an instrument of Krishna. Okay, self identity as an instrument of Krishna. Okay, not just sitting. Okay, fine. Krishna will do everything for us. So we can't make Krishna as our servant, right? But we can become instrument in the hands of Krishna. So in Gnana and Dhyana, you suppress the senses. In Bhakti, one always looks for the higher taste. He always wants to hear about Krishna. So that is Bhakti Yoga. By singing Vaishnava bhajans and memorizing, always chanting Hare Krishna mantra, he always seeks out the divine experiences, and he is never attracted to the lower taste born from the material nature. This all we learned in our previous sites. I already spoken about it. So this is how you can remain always in Krishna consciousness. Characteristic of a saintly person. Royal Road to 62 and 63. Royal Road to Hell if one meditates on lust. Okay, so if one meditates on lust, the lust doesn't mean just women. Lust also means material achievements, right? Fame, name, publicity. That is also lust. Buying great big house. That is also lust. Earning good amount of money. That is also lust. But we should think how to invest this everything into Krishna's service. So that is that prevents us from going to royal road to hell. So there are three gates to hell: lust, anger, and envy. Kam, Krodh, and Lobh. The greed, lust, anger, and greed. Not envy. Envy is also there, but Kam, Krodh, and Lobh means lust, anger, and greed. Better that is prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. Three royal roads to hell. Better to take association of advanced devotees than to give our association to others when affected by lust. So when we are feeling something about lust, then we should go to seek higher inspiration from our guru, or better to always get connected somehow or other. We should find out a spiritual master who can bring us back to a normal position in any situation. It is the best thing. We need to the mercy of Guru and Krishna to be freed from lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and wish. These are the six anarthas. So in 2.69, the characteristic of a pure Vaishnava. Okay. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami. Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato muni. Non-devotees take pleasure in sense gratification. So when there is sarva bhutanam, so ya nisha sarva bhutanam, when all are sleeping, tasyam jagrati samyami. So that time the self-realized soul, he is awake. So what is this time? Brahma Muhurat. Okay, so Brahma Muhurat. So around 3:30, some people even wake up at 2:30. in the morning. For that, they sleep very early. So when there was a time, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Bhasitam. So around 9:30, 9 o'clock, these all people who are under senses, they are fully awake, and they are eating, they are watching movies. That time, the self-realized people, they go to bed, and when they are sleeping around 2:30 in the morning, 3:30, half past 3 to half past 2, that time the self-realized soul, they wake up and they start chanting, do their Siva Puja, and then they start doing their material duty very early, around 7 6 o'clock. They start doing their material responsibility duties. So this is how our life should be. And so they talk about only economic development. So the people are, and so these are the qualities also, in a way they are showing, not only sleeping and waking up, their mentality is also completely different. You can see here that the self-realized persons, they are always in the wine, women, and the meat eating, and those kind of
Immaterial persons.
material thing. And
You said
you can see,
self-realized persons. That's right.
you can see here the self-realized person who is in the Brahma Murat, he is sitting in front of Tulsi Mata and he is chanting. Okay. They value wealth. So these materialistic people, they value wealth, power, beauty. Devotees take pleasure in austerity, penance, and sacrifice. They talk about spiritual development. We value spiritual intelligence. So this is, they are completely different. This shlokas is not about, not just literal meaning, but we have to also go into the deeper meaning. These are the deeper meaning. Okay. So this shloka, they might ask some part of it. You should understand the philosophy of this shloka.
So how can we avoid that lust? Because a lot of the time, especially when we're depressed, we will like go and watch Netflix or something, but we won't pick up the beats and chant.
So for that, you need devotee association, A, B, C, D. So you should always remain in devotee association. So whenever your mind tries to go away, you have something or other things to do, and you should take up some spiritual commitments which will engage you in those duties, and you don't have time to think about the material enjoyment. This is what the gurus says, or I have experienced this. So you should take some duties, either at temple, physical duties, or you can do some computer jobs for spirituality. You can make some slides, you can translate something. So you should take up some service, okay, to become, and you should always serve under someone. You should not just open your own things, and that means you should not open your own spiritual uh, establishment or something and start doing it. That makes you puffed up. So when you have some reporting head, you are reporting to someone, then you will do that all things within time, and because you have to submit that in within some time, you will not so much inclined to other things. And regularly we should take association and Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Okay. So we should serve Bhagavad, and we should read Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita every day, one verses. Try to memorize some verses, just like we are doing in Gita National. That makes us our mind engaged and our mind doesn't go away. And Vaishnava Seva, should do some Vaishnava Seva, like translation, what I say. Take association of the devotees. Characteristic of saintly person, 40, 54, 72. Goal of human life, and then consciousness that you experience in the physical body, unlimited desires. A person in fixed intelligence is not perturbed with such temporary desires. Beyond Buddhist nirvana, cessation of all material activity, life just starts, that is Krishna consciousness. So some about some other philosophies it is written, but Krishna says that you should just become Krishna conscious. That comprises everything. So take away from chapter 2. I think it will come in the next class tomorrow. So we'll start watching the video.
So after Nirvana, that's when Krishna consciousness starts, right? After you reach that materialization platform, after you're not attached to material life anymore. So then you'll actually properly start practicing Krishna consciousness.
Yes, but devotees are always already in Nirvana platform, you know.
Yes, I was reading that today.
So that's
Bhakti
why
Shastra.
devotees don't hanker for. Where did I drop it? That's why devotee doesn't even hanker for liberation mukti. So Bhakti Vinoda or someone has said that mukti is serving a devotee always. Mukti comes in a personal form, personality form, and Mukti Devi is serving the devotee. So and she pleads the devotee that please you come and I will liberate you. But that devotee is so much into Krishna consciousness, he doesn't even want to have liberation. So but that shouldn't mean that we should waste our life after life and show that we are Krishna conscious and we don't have any goals. uh, but we should have a goal of going back to Godhead also. So that is equally important. Although we don't desire for mukti, that is a very higher philosophy because we are in material body. That high philosophy, it's very rare to have. So we should not just publicize to everyone that, oh, I don't desire for mukti. When um, I'm ready to take several births. If I get Krishna bhakti, I'm all right. We should not publish ourselves like that because that is a fake identity. And because we are in material platform, we are in material world, um, we are not that elevated. So we should ask Krishna that whenever you like, you can inspire me to go back to Krishna. And so we should all have this desire. That is a spiritual desire to go back to Krishna. That is not a material desire. And to not have that desire is is also good, but we are not that elevated. So we should also mind our desires, our thoughts. Because if we have that desire that I don't want liberation, I don't want to go back to Krishna, I'm okay on material platform, I'll do my bhakti and all. That is also a laziness because we don't want to do even our bhakti here. That's why we are having that desire.
So we should have birth desires, right?
Yes, serving Krishna, and whenever Krishna likes, and so Prabhupada always says, no, that Krishna, whenever you wish, you can do whatever you may with me, like that. You know it more, right? What he says, Prabhupada says, as per your wish, right?
He says, make me dance as you wish.
So, like when I have, okay, fine, the class will be very long otherwise. Okay, let's go to our video. 2.2, no, 2.2, 2.1. I think I have to close this and again open it because the account is it took a long time. No? Okay, I open it again.
So there's a video on every verse.
No, 2. This is just a moment. Where is my courses? I'll tell you it.
Hmm.
So there is not a video on every verse. In chapter 2, you have to do basically two videos. You have to watch two videos and you have to appear for the exam. So 2.1 is not a verse number. 2.1 is the video number. First video, second video. So they have divided one chapter into 7
Okay.
sections.
Okay.
So this is section 1. And it will include all the summary of all the verses that we learned in the slides.
Maybe go to the YouTube link.
Can you hear?
I can't hear. Oh, I
You
can
cannot
now.
hear?
I can now.
Can you hear?
Yes. It's a little bit glitchy with the. Oh, you paused it?
Shall I keep my mic on?
No.
Huh?
I welcome all
No,
of you
no. It works
to
now.
our online course on comprehensive Bhagavad Gita study.
The audio goes off and on every now and then. Like right now, it's not
Contents
on.
of Gita summarized.
Now it's on again.
Why did he do so? We'll also explain during
What I mean was that the audio is going off and on. It's glitching in that way. Like right now we can't hear it.
second section.
You cannot
third
hear.
section. So like that, in this chapter,
confused. He didn't know what is right and what is wrong for him. And to any material problem, the solution is spiritual. Lord Krishna
That's good.
is setting that example. So he defines what is soul, what is consciousness. So by analysis, Krishna teaches what is consciousness, what is divine, what is eternal. So this very idea, understanding consciousness through analysis, understanding consciousness through analysis. This is the section 2. This section starts from the verse number 10 and ends with verse number 30. Verse number 10 to verse number 30. Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, verse number 1 to 9. And then Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna the eternal consciousness. So understanding soul or consciousness through Sankhya, through analysis. That is verse number 10 to verse number 30. Then understanding one's own duty. Because we are born with a material body. Because we are born with a material body, this body is being empowered with certain action. So one must know what this body is capable of to perform. And Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So Lord Krishna is explaining, understanding the duty, understanding one's own duty according to one's own nature. Right? So that is the third part of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, and this is from verse number 31 to 38. Then we have fourth section that talks about Buddhi Yoga. Lord Krishna would describe Buddhi Yoga. This Buddhi Yoga is same as Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga, as we will understand later from the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And this particular section starts from verse number 39 and ends with verse number 53. And finally, the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna, or a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. This is verse number 54 to verse number 72. 5 section. I hope you remember. If you remember these sections, then you understand the overall goal of this chapter, right? Once I am under confusion, then I must ask question. I must surrender to a teacher. So that is the first section. Arjuna surrendered to Lord Krishna. Verse number 1 to verse number 9. Lord Krishna instructs Arjuna in the science of consciousness. That is verse number 10 to verse number 30. And then understanding one's own duty based on one's own nature. That is verse number 31 to 38. What is Buddhi Yoga? Buddhi Yoga means Krishna consciousness. And that is being explained from verse number 39 to 53. And finally, what is the characteristics of a saintly person? Sthita Prajna, a pure devotee of Krishna. That has been explained from verse number 54 to verse number 72. So now let us go section wise. What is there in that section? Before I go section wise, let me explain to you that what is the most fundamental concept in this chapter. Because unless you get that fundamental concept, you will not understand this chapter. Please remember what Krishna is talking about. He is talking about consciousness that cannot be destroyed, that cannot be cut into pieces. These are experiences beyond our normal experience. These are extrasensory experiences. And Krishna emphatically says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehino raso varjam rasopiyasya param društva nivartate. So in this verse, this is 2.59. Lord Krishna is saying, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Dear students, let me tell you that this human body has two purposes. You can have material experience by which you can understand the material world through your endeavor to lord it over. Second is, you can have divine experience, spiritual experience, an extrasensory experience that this human body is capable of. Unless you have divine experience, you cannot follow Bhagavad Gita. So you may ask this question, how would I get divine experience? If you don't have divine experience, then with faith you start hearing Bhagavad Gita. And I can give you guarantee that one day you will have divine experience. When you will have divine experience, then Gita will be the song of the soul. It is your song. Bhagavad Gita would become your song, my song. Each one of us would like to sing Bhagavad Gita because this is about me, my divinity. This is the key point. And this is also key point for the entirety of Bhagavad Gita. Because unless I have Krishna consciousness, I have divine consciousness, I cannot understand the subject matter in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not written in Hindi or Sanskrit or English. This is the language of the soul. So let's go to the section 1. Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna. It starts with verse 1. Sanjaya uvacha tam tatha kripaya vistam asru purna kulekshanam visidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. Madhusudana is very important because Krishna, being killer of Madhu, he is capable of killing my doubts, because in general doubts are compared to asuras or those who are demons. So Krishna didn't approve Arjuna's argument not to fight, because the chapter 1 ended with Arjuna's argument against fighting. And Krishna immediately disapproves his argument against fighting. So what Lord Krishna says? So this is Sri Bhagavano Vacha Kutastvam Kasmalam Idam Visame Samupastitam Anarya Justam Aswargyam Akirti Karam Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. Krishna directly rejects Arjuna's argument. Okay. And then Krishna further says, Klaivyam asmagamaha partha naitattvai upapadyate chidram hrudayam darbalyam tektva utistha parantapa. O son of Prutha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of enemy. Krishna declared that Arjuna is having a weak heart. He has lost spiritual intelligence. So then, the next section, Arjuna would start arguing, and more Arjuna argues against fighting, more confusion attacks him, and hence he would surrender. Let us see how Arjuna would surrender. Arjuna vacha katham bhismam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana isubhi pratiyotsyami pujara risudana. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhisma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan Sreyo bhanktum bhoikhyam api haloke Hatvartha kamamstu gurun yhaiva Bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Arjuna argues still against fighting. He says, I can't fight with my own Guru, Dronacharya, my own well-wisher, Grandsir Bhishma. Na chaitad vidma kataran nagariyo yadva jayema yadiva na jayayo yaneva hatva na jijivisamsa teve sthita pramukhe dhartra rashtraha. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet, they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So Arjuna's argument is, they are ignorant. Because they are acting foolishly doesn't mean we should act foolishly. That confuses Arjuna. So now he says, Karpanya dosa pahata svabha pruchhami tvam dharma samudha cheta yachreyasyannischitam bruhi tanme sishyaste aham sadhi mam tvam prapannam. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Please instruct me. That should be our attitude. When we are confused, we must seek shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna. When you do that, Sri Guru as external manifestation of Krishna instructs us, and Sri Krishna as super soul instructs me, being from within the heart. From within the heart. And then Arjuna further says, Nahi prapasyami mamapanudyad yacho kamucho shanamindriyanam अवाप्य भूमा वसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम्. I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya uvacha evamuktva ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशा परन्तपा no yasya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Dear students, this is the first section. Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. Arjuna accepted Krishna as his master and himself as the disciple. Let us see what is happening in the next section, where Arjuna would be instructed by Lord Krishna. So now, Arjuna and Krishna are no more friends. One is spiritual master and authority. The other is a student, a surrendered soul. Tamavacha hrishikesa prahasaniva bharata senayurubhayurmadhe visidantam idam vachaha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to grief-stricken Arjuna. Sanjaya is addressing Dhritarashtra. You must be knowing Dhritarashtra must be very happy because Arjuna doesn't want to fight. But Dhritarashtra doesn't know that Arjuna is a pure devotee of Krishna and is going to follow what Krishna will be saying. Now let us see what Krishna is going to talk to Arjuna. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Asochyananna Sochostam Pragyavadam Sabhasase Gatasunna Gatasumsa Nanu Sochanti Panditaha. Immediately, here you see Bhagavanu Vacha. Krishna is not said, when Krishna is speaking, Vyasadeva is not compiling saying Sri Krishna Vacha. He is saying Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. Why? Because Sri Krishna himself is the absolute truth. Vyasadeva knew that in the future some people would come and would say this is only Krishna speaking, not Bhagavan. But by declaring it is Bhagavan who is speaking, now most of the pretenders, most of those who do not want to abide by the laws of God are choked. They cannot misinterpret Bhagavad Gita. Anybody sensible can recognize how people are misinterpreting Bhagavad Gita. Now let us see what Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. He said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Because the so-called living body and so-called dead body both are form of illusion. What is truth is the soul, the consciousness. That which is eternal. That is truth. So Krishna's next verse is Na tvevaham jatu nasam na tvam neme janadhipa na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Very important verse where Krishna is telling Arjuna that we are eternal and our individuality is permanent. That is why he is saying, O Arjuna, all these kings who have gathered here, all the warriors who are around here, including you and me. We are all eternal. We were existing, we are now existing, and we will be existing always. That means Krishna is not talking about body. He is talking about our spiritual individuality. We are all indivisible. Krishna's individuality is always eternal, so also my individuality is always eternal. Krishna is the absolute truth, and I am his eternal instrument. Next verse number 13. Daino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram jauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Krishna is saying continuous transmigration of the soul. Continuous transmigration of the soul means I, the soul.
Can you get rid of the other?
Lord Krishna, verse number 1.
Can you get rid of the other link that's playing in the, because you know the other one that you opened up before, it's playing in the background.
Okay.
Every now and then it comes like, oh my God, and to be run. Yeah, that one.
I already closed it now.
Yes, close that one. Yeah, now go back to it's playing in the between when it loads. We're up to Dana Smimita Dehe 2.13. Past that. Forward. Yeah, a bit more still. Dana Smimita Dehe, this is 2.12. And that's 2.13.
Just a moment, bhai.
I just played
We
from
are now existing and we will be existing always. That means Krishna is not talking about body. He is talking about our spiritual individuality. We are all indivisible. Krishna's individuality is always eternal, so also my individuality is always eternal. Krishna is the absolute truth, and I am his eternal instrument. Next verse number 13. Daino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram jauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Krishna is saying continuous transmigration of the soul. Continuous transmigration of the soul means I, the soul, am continuously transmigrating through my babyhood, boyhood, youth, old age, and similarly, when this body would perish, I'll accept another dress. Only a dhira can understand. Dhira means a person who can see things using jnana chakyu, shastra chakyu, spiritual intelligence. And next verses, that is 14 and 15, Krishna would say, who is a dhira? How a dhira would behave.
Mama.
That means Krishna is telling Arjuna, oh Arjuna, you cannot understand this because you have to elevate yourself to a position of a dhira.
Just click
And
anywhere on
who's dhira?
the video.
Matra sparsastu kaunteya
Click in the middle of the screen.
usno sukha dukkhada.
So you know that picture which is the frames, the movie frames of that verse 3.13. Does that mean that like it's not the body that's changing, but it's the soul that's going to different bodies
Yes.
like so fast that we don't realize it,
Yes.
which is what that movie frame, this one. You see?
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
In the first edition Bhagavad Gita.
Amazing. Actually, I was
I didn't
listening
realize
to-
that before.
Yes, very good. Great, actually. I was listening to a Bhagavatam lecture 2-3 days ago, and in which Prabhu was saying that if you see our life um, um, from Brahma's perspective, okay, how Brahma will see our life, okay, it will be just like this movie, okay, comes and goes, just like how we see Prabhupada gives example of bubbles in the ocean, right? He laughs a lot. If he was saying once in one of the audio recording I was hearing that in the ocean there are lots of bubbles. They are coming, bursting, going away, right? Do you lament? He was he was laughing. Then this is just like that. Our life is just like that. In front of Lord Brahma or the higher planetary system, like Indra, Chandra, for them also, our life is just like a mosquito's life. It just goes, just we are just manifesting. We are playing some part, and are winding up. So this 50 years, 70 years, 80 years, or 100 years, whatever we live, it just goes away like this. Like we are turning the pages of the books, just like that it goes away. So yes, it is like that only.
Agamapaino nityas tam titikyasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They rise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So, Arjuna was advised to learn sense control. If we are situated in senses, we cannot experience what is the soul eternal. We have to transcend our senses. So, matra sparsastu kaunteya. All our experiences within this world that we have is sensory experience. Sensory means through our senses, indriya. Those experiences are material. So we must learn how to tolerate the sense perception due to material sense perception. Our emotion born out of material sense perception. Pain and pleasure, heat and cold, success and failure. These are the things that we must reject. Yam hena vyathayanti te purusam purusarsava sama dukkha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. If we accept material sense perception to be true, then certainly we are illusioned. We cannot appreciate the transcendental nature of the absolute truth, the divine nature of the absolute truth, the divine nature of tiny living entities. And Krishna is telling to Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, you may not have the capacity to understand what is a soul. You may not have the capacity for the sense control. But you should have faith that there are people who know sense control and they have seen what is soul." So Krishna is saying, this is a very important verse, "Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, uvairapi drustvantastu anyas tattvadarshibhi." Those who are the seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So, Arjuna is being advised to follow in the path of seers. Tattvadarshi, those who have seen the truth. Even if one person knows what is truth, we must follow him. We should not follow the majority. If majority say that they don't understand soul, and that is why we must reject the soul, my dear friend, that is not Indian tradition. The Vedic tradition is to accept even one person who is there, who has seen the truth, and whatever he says, we must be able to accept. And then, in the next verse, 2.17, Krishna talks about the permanence of the consciousness. What is consciousness? Avinasi tu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasam abhyasyasya nakasit kartum arhati. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. You see, there is pain and pleasure in your body, right? The moment the soul leaves, you hit this body, nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. There will be no response. So there is something eternal that pervades this body. That eternal must be searched after. The eternal must be searched after. That is soul. That is pure consciousness. We must search out the divinity that I am and you are. Then 2.18 onwards until 2.24, Lord Krishna would enumerate some of the properties of the soul. Antavanta ime deha nitya sukta saririnaha anasino prameyasya tasmat vidyasya bharata. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is here to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. So Lord Krishna emphatically saying, Atman, the soul, is indestructible, immeasurable and eternal. Yenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na bijanito nayam hante na hanyate. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. How poetic translation by Srila Prabhupada. So, soul is eternal. It cannot be killed, nor anybody who can claim that he can kill the soul. (2.20) Najayate mriyate va kadachin नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराण न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So here we can see the soul is unborn, and we experience only the illusory aspect of our existence, not the eternal aspect of our existence. 2.21 Veda vinasinam nityam yenam ajam abhyam katham sa purusaha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. Translation: O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Krishna literally repeating. Why? Because when you introduce a new concept, you must tell that repeatedly such that it sinks in within our consciousness. So he is repeatedly saying, the soul is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be killed. It is my foolishness to think that I can kill someone. Vasang sijirnani yatha vihaya navani grunhani naroparani tatha sarirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garment, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. It's like a change of dress. You are very highly elevated consciousness. You are given a human body in which you can contemplate on the nature of divinity. If your consciousness is very low, then you may be given a body of a plant, body of a bird, body of an animal, because there you are not required to contemplate on the nature of the soul. But if we have got a human body, it becomes mandatory that I must contemplate on the nature of the soul. Nainam chinnanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam klidayantapo, na sosayati maruta. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Very profound ideas are given by Lord Krishna for us to assimilate, internalize the concept soul. Soul cannot be burnt by fire. Although we have seen within our experience, anything within this world can be burnt to ashes. Soul cannot be cut to pieces by any weapon, not even atomic weapon. Soul cannot be made wet by water, nor it can be withered by the wind. Very powerful wind can even make big aeroplanes fly like a toy. But soul cannot be moved by wind. Achedyoyam madhyayam akledya sosya evacha nitya sarvagataha sthanur achaloyam sanatanaha. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, eternally the same. It cannot be broken. Just like now you add some salt in the water and you won't see salt because it has been mixed with because it is soluble in water. Krishna is again repeating, the soul cannot be burnt nor can be dried. Soul is everlasting, present everywhere. This is very important. It is present everywhere means not only in earthly planet, in all over the planetary system, soul is existing. Soul is there in moon planet, soul is there in sun planet, soul is there in Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, Mars, everywhere. Soul is there in every stars. The very idea that the stars are simply, a pot of cauldron, boiling pot. The very idea that the stars are boiling pot and it is emanating immense heat. And sun is one of the biggest star or the nearest star. That is only some burning is happening. The metals are getting melted, they are getting evaporated, and it is generating lot of heat. That idea is refuted in Bhagavad Gita. Sun is a very, very high level planet. It is one of the features of Swargaloka, and there are souls residing in the sun, souls residing in moon. If you want to accept Bhagavad Gita, you must understand soul can reside anywhere. The dress has to change. Of course, every planet will have different atmosphere, and according to atmosphere, the dress has to be designed properly. The human body that is designed for earthly planet will not be suitable for sun planet or moon planet. That is for sure, because moon body is icy, very cold. Sun body is very hot. That is accepted. But we don't accept that there are no soul. No. Life is very advanced. People are spiritually more inclined in those planets. Abhyaktoyam achintyoyam abhikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvenam nanu sochitum arhasi. It is said the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Just like a virus gets mutated. But soul cannot be mutated. It is immutable. It is divine. It is inconceivable. Because the same soul is there within an ant, within an elephant, within a human being, within a lion, within a plant. That is, same soul is able to animate different bodies differently. So it is inconceivable. Soul leaves the body, everything is dead. Dead matter. Invisible. You cannot use an atomic force microscope to see, how is this soul looking? No. You can't do that. Because any material equipment cannot find the subtle soul. Soul is subtler than any of the material elements existing. So verse number 18 to verse number 25, we saw the properties of the soul. So Lord Krishna after narrating the properties of the soul, would try his best to inspire Arjuna to give off his lamentation for the dead, that he is going to kill someone. Arjuna cannot kill someone, nor Arjuna can be killed. So, Krishna is saying, Atha chainam nitya jatam nityam bhamanyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam sochitum arasi. If however you think that soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Symptoms of life. According to scientists, this body is about symptom of life. This does not have symptom, this body has symptom of life. And that is what material scientists are also talking about. And Krishna is saying, suppose you don't believe in soul, you only believe in the symptom of life, then there is no need to lament. Because everything in this material world, according to the laws of matter, would gather, would take a shape, exhibit some symptom of life, and would perish. If you think is the laws of nature is like that, so why to lament? Today or tomorrow, this body is going to perish. So why to lament? Jatasya hi dhruva mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyarthe natvam sochitum arhasi. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. O Arjuna, don't you know? Death is very true within this material realm. Anybody who is born is sure to die. So it's a matter of duty. You go and fight. Don't worry about who would kill whom. Abhyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata abhyakta nidhanani eva tatra ka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Yes, this body, although it is made up of matter, it was not manifest the way it was before. This shape was not there. It was there in its unmanifested form, abhyakta. And then earth, water, air, fire, ether, they combined to form this body, became manifest. And when it becomes unmanifest, again these material elements would go and merge this sum total of the material elements. So why you lament? So Krishna further says about the soul, Arjuna, I tried to explain to you about the soul, about the divinity of the soul, but let me tell you the truth about the soul. Asaryavat pasyati kischidenam asaryavat vadati tathaiva chanyam asaryavat chainam anyah srunoti srutvapi enam veda na chaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. See, Krishna says, although I spoke to you, Arjuna, about the soul, for the concept of soul to sink in my consciousness, it would take time. It requires special grace of Guru and Krishna to be able to observe the concept soul. So Krishna is saying, this is inconceivable and very, very amazing the way soul is. You cannot cut, it cannot be destroyed, it is unborn. So obviously it is amazing. If I cannot be destroyed, is it not my primary duty to understand, to spend my time, to understand what is that eternal entity? So Bhagavad Gita must compel us to invest our energy to understand that which is wonderful, amazing. So ultimately in this section, Krishna is telling, Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natum sochitum arasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So, we discussed today in this video two sections. First section, verse number 1 to 9, Arjuna surrendered to Lord Krishna. And then, this next section, Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna about the science of soul, science of consciousness. We are going to churn this instruction of Krishna more and more and more. We will come back with next 3 sections in the next video. Thank you very much.
Any questions, Rohin?
No.
Okay, then we are concluding this session, and tomorrow we will see the objective part also, okay, after finishing that video. So there will be a bit bigger session tomorrow. Okay, Hare Krishna.
The objective is like quiz,
Objective.
like a test.
Yeah, I have. Not like test, but we'll go through together.
All right.
Hare Krishna.